Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best of 3 series of Terran vs Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Oceanborn. Spotting right here in the top left hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have none other than Kijkwijzer. His opponent in the opposite corner, a man I only upload as of late whenever he loses a match. I hope for his sake that he ends up winning this time around. We're looking at none other than Reynor's main hatchery. Reynor opening up with a good old triple hatch, whereas on the other side of the map, it's been a double barrack start right here for Kijkwijzer. Okay, generally speaking against this opener, your third actually can be in some trouble. Generally speaking, you do delay your third base for quite a bit. Most of the time, Zerg players favor going into 4 queens before planting down the third hatch. But Reynor must not have realized exactly what the opponent is playing against. How many workers will Kijkwijzer really commit to, though? One of these Marines, yep, is going to be rallied backwards. This Reaper is going to turn around as well and get the kill on everything, assuming this is microed. Queens have run away from the main base as well as the natural expansion to start protecting the third base, and I think Reynor will be okay. Still a successful start, though, for Kijkwijzer. You can't really be far behind whenever you go for this opener. That's one of the nice things about playing the triple Reaper start. Now, this is a triple Reaper with 4 Reapers. Still counts. It's like a 16 Marine drop with 14 Marines, you know? Triple Reaper opener. Anywhere between like 2 to 5 Reapers. That is usually how these sort of things go. I think Kijkwijzer added on another one just because he was hoping to get the kill on the opponent's third hatch. But Reynor, walking the queens on over there, keeps it alive, but the hatchery is battered and bruised, and this is certainly a base that can now be quite susceptible to aggression a little bit later on into the match. Looks like the follow-up here is fairly standard, although we are going to go for some Hellion production. Hellions together with Reapers, I mean, you can see that the Hellions are rallied on top of each of these individual Reapers, so if this guy, for example, dies, the rally point will move to the next one in line. And that means we're going to continue raiding around the map. Stimpack on the back of this. Exposed add-on, but I don't really think that Reynor is going to be able to do too much about it unless he really commits. So here we go. Creep spread already quite nice, though. Zerglings going around the back. Good movement here by the Terran. Nice attempt by Reynor. He may very well decide to go for... Well, you'll have to saturate that first, right? But... Nah. We've seen some Zerg players experiment with taking their 4th base over here. I still think the bottom of the map is a little bit better overall. Anyways, triple CC right here for our Terran, who is gonna start up that starport production. It'll be a Viking into a Liberator, so Kijkwijzer going for a very aggressive opener. He's gonna get to Stimpack without really any medevacs. So early on this game is gonna be aggressive. The follow-up, though, will be relatively passive, and let's see, maybe these Zerglings can finally get some value. They try to get the wraparound, but the Reapers are very slippery. The Hellions are greased up before they move away from the factory, but ultimately, there we go. That is what the Italian was looking for. He cleans it all up with ease. And now suddenly, I like this early game a whole lot better for Reynor. It's not so much that the trade has been horrible for Kijkwijzer. It's not so much that it's been horribly inefficient and just suboptimal. It's just that the follow-up right now here from the Terran is going to be extremely slow. For the next, minute or two, Reynor gets to do whatever he likes. And whenever Zerg players get to do in the early game whatever they like, you know what that means. Yeah, we're going to make drones. That is all we're going to see. Drones, tech, Evo chambers, upgrades, 4th base. We may see a macro hatchery. I would assume we're gonna see maybe like a Hydra den. This is him doing whatever he likes. Yep, and it's still a little bit sketchy for the Terran. Even though most of the time it will indeed be a macro-focused follow-up from the Zerg. Oh, it's actually melee upgrades. That surprises me a little bit. Anyways, most of the time it's a macro-focused follow-up. Obviously, there could be a big aggressive all-in here for the Zerg player coming across. Not the case, though, this time around, as Reynor is double expanding. I think one of these hatcheries will be treated more or less as a macro hatch, or a base that can be used to, well, transfer drones to if the other one ends up going down. Much like 4 Reapers with a Much like 4 Reapers with a triple Reaper opener, this is a second 4th base. Please tell me these things make sense. This is a backup 4th base, so it's a 4th 2.0. You could call it the... Yeah, you could call it the 5th. Yeah, you could call it the 5th. But it really is a secondary 4th. Because it's just a backup to the backup. StarCraft math hits differently. So I think this is actually an Ultra Rush. It's interesting to see the melee upgrade here, because we don't have a Baneling Nest. Instead, what we have is roaches to stay alive into an infestation pit. If you're gonna go into melee upgrades, the only logic here for me is to go into a quick hive, and then I guess straight into Brute Lords, straight into Ultralisks. Never Brute Lords. There's the Baneling Nest. So Baneling Nest after the hive starts. That feels wild. But Reynor must have given this a shot before, and apparently it can work out. Now, generally speaking, Terrans don't go for an all-out assault until they get, like, finish, for example, 2-2. And that is obviously still ages away. Cure is going to test the waters. There will not be Baneling speed or anything along those lines, but I think Roaches and Zerglings alone, especially with upgrades, they should be okay. Reynor pretty much banking on his opponent making a 4th command center, though. Most of the time in the current meta, all of the Terran players, at least from Korea, they seem to favor that 4 command center play. So there's been a couple of games. For example, Oliveira versus Serral from the ESL Masters Spring Tournaments come to mind. Oliveira ended up going for a triple command center, 8 Rex all in. And that seems to be able to catch the top level Zerg players off guard quite frequently, because in that particular series... Yeah, he won twice. He won twice with an 8 Rex all in. And this is a build that seems quite susceptible to something like that, but this time around, I mean, we already have the hive done. Adrenal Glands coming up, Vipers coming up, and the Ultralisk Cavern. It's going to start up its chitinous plating upgrade here within a minute or so. So Ultras should be hitting the battlefield here before the 10-minute mark. Okay, so there's Barracks, 6, 7, and 8. Usually this will be the moment as well where we see a Ghost Academy coming up for the Terran. And it'll be a critical Ghost Academy. Because without Ghosts, fighting Ultras is very hard. Technically speaking, Liberators is a good choice. Obviously, these Ultras, though, they're going to hit the battlefield substantially earlier than the usual timing. He sees the lack of Baneling speed at this point. Now it finishes. It's a good timing here for Reynor, but that is a giveaway that something is a little weird. The more time goes by without a Ghost Academy, the more worried I become here for Cure. Because you really do need a bunch of units. He's doing some nice little bits of harassment. But there have been a bunch of games where Terrans just don't have any Ghost out. As good as that unit is, it is also an absolute necessity in macro games. Because Ultras just plow through everything. He did go for Tech Labs. Am I crazy? Did we already have one? No, we don't have one. He is going Tech Labs. So he could make Marauders? Maybe the plan is to go Marauders. He's not anticipating Ultras yet. Chitinous plating is an absolute necessity, though. Ultras kind of suck without it. Oh, he's going to collapse on top of this? There are Vipers, so Blinding Clouds will indeed be good. Only a small clump of Marines remain. Nice splits right here by the South Korean Terran as he flanks the flank. Ultras now hit the battlefield as soon as the production cycle completes. I think the reason why Reynor decided to commit that hard is because he needed to open up some supply. Cure still no Ghost Academy, and still no idea about the imminent Ultralisk threat. Okay, I would really like to see Reynor commit hard here. He hasn't decided to go for 3-3 until just now, so he's really prioritizing units. I think Ultras can actually win the game here straight up. Now there is a planetary building at the 12 o'clock position. I think you ignore that one entirely. You either go up the natural ramp or through the choke point here through the 3rd. There's the Ultras. Big Daddy Ultra has arrived. And at this point, there's really no great counter. I mean, you do need some actual backup. There's a lot of Zerg still coming across the map. Vipers also have energy again. In a panic here, Cure starts up the Concussive Shells upgrade. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna see the chompers chomp their way through all of the Terran. Chomp, 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 chomp. GG. Nice game right there from Reynor. Jimmy! Jimmy! Jimmy, how many likes? 2,500? 2,500. Okay, 2,500 likes and I'll upload another video. That's... Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that. If we don't make it, yeah, I guess I'll upload another video. Game number 2. We find ourselves on Alcyone, and it looks like Cure once more wants to go for the good old double Rex. At least that's the only thing that makes sense. It's funny how this is a build that some pro gamers absolutely love and then others never play. Right? Like, for example, this is a build that we see Bjorn play pretty much every single game. And it looks like Cure is gonna now do it, well, probably this entire series as well. And then on the flip side, you have players like Clem, players like Maru, that rarely open up with a double Rex. Kind of fun to see, because these are very significant stylistic changes. My main dislike of this opener for Terran is the fact that you are very much so pushed into the same direction. Like, if you're gonna go for double barracks, it is 100% clear for the Zerg player that you're gonna be playing bio in the mid game. So, yeah, Zerg never has to worry about any sort of mech. I mean, it's not really something that gets played in the current meta anyways, I guess. Yeah, it just makes you very predictable. Any follow-up attack is always gonna be with Marines, and it's always gonna look very similar. Reynor once again, by the way, curious pathing right here on those Overlords. He will not see that his opponent is gonna go for this double Rex opener before he would have to commit to a third hatch. Yep, and I think we're gonna see a quick third hatchery here again. I'm assuming, I'm hoping at least for him, that he is gonna leave... Oh no, he's gonna go triple hatch before link speed. That's gonna make this attack pretty hard to hold. Okay, yep. So what Zerg players do when they go for this opener is they pull 2 drones out of gas when they collect 60 of it in total. And then they trickle in with 1 drone until they get up to 100. So Reynor right now realizes it, quickly shoves 2 of them back into the gas, wants to get that link speed going here ASAP. A couple of Zerglings meant for the distraction, but this third hatchery is now actually in trouble. So Cure going for 3 Reapers with the triple Reaper opener. I actually would have liked to see him go 5 Reapers here, because that almost always guarantees the kill. But he apparently has faith in these jetpack raiders. The Zerglings, I mean, they can actually deal some damage. Oh, it's once again 4. So 3 plus 1 is 4. Yeah. Yeah, for those of you that also never finished elementary school, you're welcome. So if you have 3 fingers and you add, yeah, you get 1 more. Reaper's going around the site. I think it, Do you think it's fine to take that much damage on your hatchery? I always find it a little sketchy. I think Cure could have done more. He's not done yet. It's interesting. I've seen quite a few of these openers, precisely like the ones that we're seeing right here, where Zerg is delaying the link speed, going for a quick triple hatch. Terran's opening up double Rex. It's very risky. Okay, so it's basically a guaranteed kill if the Terran goes for a triple Rex opener. So we see that as well from, for example, Bjorn, where he goes for 2 Rex over here at the front and then another one in the main base. Then that third hatchery is toast, and there is no way for Reynor to know. I think the Reapers, yeah, they're going to die. Except for this guy. Wow. Smug look in his face, manages to get away. Never mind. Why must we suffer? So, actually kind of cool. He already destroyed those rocks on his opponent's side of the map to specifically catch those Reapers. There's no other reason other than catching those Reapers. So Reynor right there having the foresight and, yeah, thinking ahead, realizing that that was likely going to be the escape path that those Terran units would choose. I don't think we're gonna see Cure delay his Ghost Academy here in this game. Yeah. It's funny, like, Ultras, they're Considered to be quite a bad unit overall. Like, I don't think there's anybody out there that thinks Ultras are really, really strong. But it turns out when the opponent doesn't have the right units to deal with them, you get countered really hard by Ultralisks. Okay. That is a pretty quick armory. How many Hellions are we on? 6 right now. There should be a Hellbat attack, but it's a bit of a funky Hellbat attack. I think it's a Marine drop together with a Hellbat push. Together with a little bit of a supply block. 69 out of 69. Luckily for him, he does finish another depot there eventually. Because that's not nice at all. Unless you're a fan of Zerg. Yeah, then I guess it might be. Anyways, Reynor cruising along again. Playing the exact same thing that he was previously. Going for Spore Crawlers relatively late, but it's the perfect timing against Liberators. No Liberator played this time around, though, as we have a priority right here on Medifex. This push always hits so late. As long as there's like 5 roaches out. So currently there's none. This could actually hit... Okay, this could actually hit pretty hard. Reynor really needs more units. He's making more roaches here, but... this is going to hurt the Zerg quite a bit. I don't think it's supposed to deal this much damage, but... Reynor caught with his pants down. The Marines show up. At the bare minimum, we're going to see a lot of units die here. Yep. And even Cure is a little bit surprised. He's like, wait, are you holding back army? Are you waiting right now? Like, what is going on? Well, don't mind if I do in that case. 22 drones. A whole load of queens. I think, honestly, killing the queens alone was already worth it right here for Cure. Those 22 drones are basically a bonus. Alright. Well, that's about as efficient as it was going to be. But, of course, the reason why Reynor didn't have an army there is because he over-droned. So, as the dust settles, he's actually still going to be competitive as far as that worker count goes. Because he overmade them. He lost the Axis. And even though that's still not a trait he would be happy to take again, it's not the end of the world. There's again the Infestation Pit. This time around, though, most important distinction here compared to the previous game is the +1 missile. So no melee upgrade here, no 2-2 Ultralisk timing attack. This is probably gonna go into Lurkers, I would imagine. Although, we should see a Hydra then right about right now in that case. Here's the second factory coming up for the Terran. Trying his very best to just produce as many of those juicy siege tanks as possible. I'm fully assuming here, fully expecting that it will once... Oh, we're just gonna go into a bunch of infestors. Interesting. I'm fully expecting that this will once again be a transition towards a 4th base, rather than barracks 6, 7, and 8 before the 4th command center. Marine drop in the main just being annoying. I think those 2 infestors are actually made just because life is kind of complex right now for the Zerg. Those are probably the, oh no, I wish the game didn't go like this, infestor. Right? Like, that's the ones right here coming up. 1 fungal growth and you can suddenly catch that entire Terran army. Command center number 4. Yeah, this is not really a game where Reynor can go across the map and just shove forward. Lurker Den is coming though. We've seen this quite a bit, especially from Dark, in combination with Nidus Worms. So Nidus Lurker seems to be one of the Zerg's favorite comeback mechanics in the current meta. Nice scan over here for Cure, sees that there's not a whole lot. Denying the creep threat here is really sweet. It'll take a while for Zerg to regrow that section of the map, and when this section of the map is not taken properly, yep, you can tell here that Zerg has just stopped dead in its tracks. Nicely done right here by Cure. At this point in the game, Zerg is supposed to be at least halfway across the map with the creep. Not the case though, this time around. A 4th hatchery, or a 5th hatchery rather, is coming up. Medevac still patrolling back and forth. Roach is still patrolling back and forth as well. Okay. 1 gas. A few Hydras are available as well. We're not going to finish the gas geyser. Instead, we finish off Brenda. Poor Brenda. 4th command center though. Yep, should fly on over in that direction. And right about right now is when we should expect the Ghost Academy. I'd be very surprised if Cure decides to skip on it once again. There's a little bit of a window though this time around, because it's a lurker follow-up. There it is. Okay. It's a lurker follow-up, so those lurkers are gonna need both upgrades before they're really helpful. I don't think Cure knows, but Cure has seen that there are upgrades on those roaches. And in the previous game, they only had a carapace research. You can click on your opponent's units and see what their upgrades are like. So at this point, I think he realizes that it's not going to be a fast Ultralisk play this time around. Plus, judging by the early game, I don't think he's really concerned. Now he sees the lurker then too. Knows exactly what he's playing against, but lurkers are already out. Oh, Fungal? Fungal? Hello? Okay, I was gonna say. Yeah. Very surprised Cure decided to chase that, because he did see those infestors. Even though Reynor was preoccupied there. Cure was hoping that his opponent was going to be preoccupied for like 2 more minutes. Roaches and lurkers coming in from the side. A lot of losses here though. Empty medevac flying on through as well. Yeah, Cure is just rubbing salt in the wound here. Expertly played by the South Korean Terran. Just keeping on the pressure and not letting go of any of these... well, advantages that he's created for himself so far. Gotta be careful that you don't overextend though, because lurkers of course do trade very efficiently. Ghosts are a necessity, and there we go. The ghosts are coming. If you're scared of the dark, well, bring a flashlight, I guess? I'm not exactly sure. What do you do when you're afraid of the dark? What do you do if you're afraid of ghosts? What if there's a ghost under your bed? What if it's Nova? Anyways. +3/+3 fired up here for Cure, who now has a 4th command center up and running, and exactly, this should be the moment where we are going to be seeing the additional command center explosion. Terran players love making command centers, although recently there has been a bit of a shift. The mass command center meta has sort of shifted away just a tad. I don't think Cure really needs it in this game, but this would be the moment where we can start up more if he wants it. It's just gonna slow down the game a lot, right? And I don't think that's what he's really hold position on those lurkers. Or hold fire, rather, on those lurkers. Are we gonna take the gas? What are we doing? Oh, okay. He wants to open up a backdoor right here into his opponent's 3rd base. Reynor hoping that maybe he can do a little bit of a run-by. It's not a bad choice. Roaches are gonna be the name of the game so far. So what Reynor is trying to do, right, in this game is just survive. He's been on the back foot ever since like minute 5 or so, and he just wants to live. If he manages to get a sufficient amount of lurkers out, it'll be very difficult for the Terran to just shove across the map and win. He knows that it's an uphill battle at this point, but this is his best case scenario. I mean, at this point, honestly, his economy is good. The creep spread is still nothing to write home about, but I don't think Terran can really easily move in. Yeah, I don't think you want to go too far off creep either, though. We have a couple lurkers in for the counterattack. A couple of roaches here as well on the right side. Lurkers in the middle of the map. Hold position again. Or hold fire. He's doing a lot of that. Lurkers actually just going into the natural. This is Reynor trying to fish for something good. He hopes that he's gonna get some value, but so far not really getting yet what he's hoping for. It looks like that drone, by the way, is going back and forth, mining out the entire wall. I think the original plan for it was to just do it once, but here we are. Fight in the middle of the map. Good enough for the Terran. Zerglings do try to get the wraparound. Not a lot of medevacs here, a lot of low HP Terran units. But I think Cure is playing this out well. Yeah, it's easy to stim into lurkers and lose everything. But I think these engagements have been good enough for Cure. His economy is strong. Now there's some multitasking though that he needs to deal with, and that is easier said than done. Kills the gold base of the Zerg player. He knew about this expansion at the bottom of the map because one of the Vikings was landed over there. The other Vikings, by the way, have killed the Vipers off, so at this point, no more Vipers available. 3 hero SCVs, apparently. Okay. Leading the charge as well, but they're going to be sent back home to their mineral lines. That's 2 bases down the drain. Well done right here by Cure. He got the advantage, well, he got the advantage when he first pushed across the map, right? A long time ago, with the Hellions and, well, the Marines. Turned the Hellions into Hellbats, and he ultimately got a ton of value with that attack. It's difficult for the Terran to close it out anytime before that point, but Cure has basically just been trying to snowball the game. And you can see that ultimately we arrive at a, well, 50 supply advantage right now. A superior economy as well. Right now apparently Zerg has got a couple more workers mining, but... yeah, this is not a game that's going well here for Reynor whatsoever. Another expansion building up north. This is Cure basically making sure that he is super safe. Using every form of protection that he knows. Some might call it excessive, but Cure doesn't want to take any chances. So it all comes down to this. Site Delta. I have once again moved forward to the 2-minute mark, just because, well, everything's normal, right? We've seen the early game. It's gonna be a double Rex indeed, once more from Cure. Reynor, though, this time around, not opting to go for that that very quick third hatchery. A little bit of variety from the Zerg player. Oh, nice movement there by Cure. Honestly, that's just salt in the wound. Just killing one drone, it's obviously not the end of the game, but it's actually quite significant at this point. That's like 5% of Reynor's economy at this stage in the game. It is nice to get that first kill under your belt here as Cure. Because you also know that Reynor can be, yeah, a little bit of a tilter. He can be quite frustrated. Not really quite as robotic as, say, for example, Serral. But maybe that's because Serral is a robot. Yeah. Oh, gets a couple of the links. Now, what exactly are we going to be using the gas on here, Reynor? Because we haven't started up link speed yet. I would imagine that we're going to be going into a lair instead. Can goats be stressed? Does anybody know? I'm assuming goats can be stressed out. 3 minutes and 20 seconds on that Roach Warren. Is he just doing a... I think he's just doing a link speedless opener. Actually, Serral is not quite as robotic as everybody would like him to think. Yeah. Whenever he is in between games and there's a camera on his face, you always see him muttering to himself. And I know everybody's asked him a million times, like, what are you saying? Like, you can see his mouth moving. It always looks like he's very angry, even when he wins. So there's like, there's never a smile on his face, okay? Like, when he's playing a series, he's not smiling about the win that he just got. He's always looking angry. I'm assuming he's just talking to himself in Finnish. A little bit of swearing. That's the only Finnish I know. I only know Finnish swear words. But yeah, he's always muttering to himself, and then he gets very robotic again. Maybe he summons demons. That could be. Yeah. The sauna demon. Very dangerous. Yeah, very, very dangerous. No, I'm not sure. He's always muttering words, and he's always saying things, and he's like... I've asked him this actually years ago at the Home Story Cup couch. And I asked him specifically, like, hey, what are you saying? And he said to me, I am talking in between games? Like he didn't know? He's been doing this for years. Nah, there's no way he doesn't know. He just doesn't want people to know what he says. It must be some sort of secret incantation. That's the only thing that makes sense. Either that or he's possessed. Anyways, no Serral in this game. Reynor, judging here by his build order, actually feeling good. Yeah, so sometimes it's easy to get frustrated in a game of StarCraft, but I don't think that's really the case right here. For the Italian, he's gonna go into the +1 carapace really quickly. So this is a Zerglingless opener on one of the biggest maps. Ambitious play, nice Evo Chamber block over there. Brenda is gonna go... dead. Yes. She's gonna go dead. Yeah, she was like, what should I do today? Guess I'm gonna go dead. Right. she ended up going down there, which is still a nice snipe, of course, for Cure. More salt rubbed in the wound, but the nice advantage right here for Reynor, when you do skip some of those early game upgrades, is that your economy is going to be booming. So despite all of the losses, despite the little bit of sloppiness here and there, we're still talking 64 workers already. Pretty much 3 base saturation versus a Terran who only just now landed the 3rd base. Follow-up right here, though, from Cure is going to be more of the same. The same of what we've seen in the previous games already. Like I said, when you do go for the double Rex opener, it's really the only expected follow-up. Maybe Gumiho could do like a double Rex opener into, I don't know, Terran mech. But that's Gumiho. Hellions and Reapers trying to see if they can get something done. Nice little Reaper grenade. But ultimately, that's the best they're gonna get. Okay. So this is a hive that's about a half minute quicker than the hives that we've seen so far. It's a very fast hive. So this is a hive together with Zergling speed. Look at these 2 upgrades going up at the same time. It's a bit weird. It is once again +1 missile. But there is also a Baneling Nest researching. Or upgrading. It's building right now. So we'll have to see exactly. We'll let the man cook for a little bit. All of it should just, well, come down to a very similar late game here for the Zerg, but it's curious to see the different paths that Reynor is taking here. This time around, Cure not really getting that early game boost that he was hoping for. You can see that the creep threat is already further than what we've had in the previous game. Gonna be forced to play a much more macro-focused match here. So, second factory is not gonna be over at the 3rd base, it's gonna be building inside of the main. We should see a 4th command center start up here momentarily. Usually that one's gonna go over here or somewhere over here, so it can be flown. There you go. I wanted to say flighted, but no. It can be flighted towards the 6 o'clock. My English is very good. Yeah, he's roaming the map. He's trying to get some value here and there, but ultimately these attacks are just not getting that much done. And this is the main difference between having a really, really strong early game as Terran and then one where life is, yeah, okay, but nothing amazing. Hive is done. And I think Cure, yeah, he did get a glimpse of it just now. That's always an important scout. Knowing that the opponent can bring any of those Hive game units, or the Hive tech units is really nice. It is, of course, difficult for the Terran to figure out exactly what they're playing against. Like, you would have to make a control group of ghosts in order to counter lurkers, and then another control group of ghosts to try and counter infestors. And then you need another control group of ghosts to try and counter any vipers. And then you need another control group of ghosts to try and counter any brute lords. And then one final control group of ghosts to try and counter any ultralisks. But whatever late game option Zerg is gonna go for, oh my god. Well, ghosts would have been nice in this fight. Blinding clouds right over here on all of those siege tanks. He's not even using the banelings. Yeah, Reynor's like, yo, I don't need any of this. 12 o'clock position though. Yep, does get sniped. I'm a little surprised that Cure has not thrown up the Ghost Academy. This is kind of a repeat of game number 1 now, where he ultimately ended up getting chomped to death. The big chompers. I mean, now he sees it. He already had vision of the Hive earlier. All right, well, there goes the command center. It is still just mostly Marine tank at this point. The Academy will be built, but before the Marines will finally be able to graduate from Ghost School. What do you think they learn in Ghost School? I'm not sure. Anyways, before they finally manage to get those ghosts out, it is still going to be quite a bit later. There is here a timing window for Reynor. Question is, does he realize it? Because Reynor knows that he's been scouted, and therefore he may just make the assumption that his opponent actually has the counter ready to go. I think, yeah, judging by the movement here from the Italian Zerg, that he believes that his opponent already has the counter. So he's giving Cure the benefit of the doubt here. If he would push right now, I think there's a really good opportunity for the Zerg to just straight up win. Because look at what we've got. Terran has got very little. Yeah, Well, in a minute or so, graduation is here. The ghosts are gonna throw their graduation caps up in the air. We don't have those in the Netherlands. We don't get graduation caps. I know. Boring. We don't even get like a cool rope or whatever. Do you get to keep the rope? Do you buy it? How does this even work? I don't know how the rope works. I guess you have to rent one of those. Do you get to keep the hat at least? Anyways, they're out now. And this is where the command centers are starting up. So, Cure is trying to play that tempo game here like he did in game number 1. And you can tell, okay, it's not really worked very well in this particular match. So unlike game number 1, where he decided to focus more on units and less on structures, less on command centers, in this game, the tempo advantage is not really in his favor, and now we're going mass command center. Look at that. Triple factory, 7 command centers on the production tab. This is Operation Turtle. Engaged. Let's see. A couple of banelings, by the way, burrowed here as well. We do see some parabombs. Still, though, Vikings are, gonna easily split. You could even just land them, which would also get rid of, there you go, of the parasitic bombs. And already, a couple of those Vipers have gone down. There's the Corruptors coming up. Corruptors to try and counter any sort of Liberator follow-up as well. Reynor not yet aware of the fact that his opponent is going into additional factories. So this will be Ghost Mech. Ghost Mech rather than Ghosts into, well, Liberators and all the rest of it. Love the building positioning right here for Cure. Yeah, this is gonna be extremely hard for the Zerg player to break. So Cure never really getting the game under his control, or at least not in the way that he's hoping for, but he's got a different line of attack here, a different game plan. We're gonna try and play this one slow and steady, try to see if we can get the favorable traits in the long run. And I've seen quite a few games where that goes really well for the Terran over the course of like 30, 45-ish minutes. So that is what Cure is aiming for right now. He's got the long game right here in mind. Another Nidus Worm inside of the main base. These Nidus Worms are quite annoying, by the way, because the longer the game goes on, no reaction. Yeah, the more towards the middle of the map Terran will be spread. Reynor's main goal here is to try and deny as many bases as possible. You can see that the Ultras are chasing this as long as there's no ghost nearby. But there they show up. Okay. So the general strategy right here for the Zerg is that they know they're never going to trade cost efficiently. So Terran will always get the better trades. The resources lost at this point in time, you can tell here that they are, well, already slightly in favor of the Terran, but it's only going to get better for Terran as time goes by. Their army is just simply better. However, obviously Zerg has the advantage of having the full map under their control. So Reynor is going to try and mine a bare minimum of 50% of all of the bases plus 1. So that'll be the ultimate goal for Zerg. If you can mine and steal one of the bases of the Terran, that would be massive. Because at that point, the cost inefficiency rather, it barely matters. So Reynor is okay with his opponent having this base. He's probably okay with his opponent having this one, but this one pretty much out of the question. Same, I think, can be said for the expansion in the bottom left. We're fighting right now for expansions that matter. But this is not really... Oh, okay. Gets the command center. Sloppy mistake right there from Cure. A little distracted maybe with the fight happening at the same time on the right side of the map. But yeah, this is very much so now a game of speed. And Reynor has got plenty of that. 674 average action per minute. Or average actions, rather, per minute throughout this game. Obviously, a little asterisk right next to it because, well... we've got a lot of ways to inflate the APM in StarCraft 2 in 2024. He's not actually hitting 11 buttons a second. He's probably hitting only like 8 buttons a second. Maybe 9. I know. Kind of cringe. Reynor actually one of the fastest players in the entire game. Actually insanely quick. I love these attacks though. I think these attacks are really good for Reynor. Yeah. So while this is going on, right, he's taking expansions that are gonna be in the late game. Like, that was a juicy trade. In the ultimate late game of this matchup, taking those bases here from the Terran is huge. I would love to see Reynor transfer drones to this expansion early, just to mine out those outer expansions first. Because once those minerals are gone, they can no longer be mined. Mineral fields don't regenerate. We don't quite have that technology yet. Yep, look, he's doing it. I love seeing this. It also makes me feel smart. I feel a little smug whenever pro gamers do this. Because if you look back at videos I uploaded in like 2019, I was shouting for Zerg players to do this, and no, nobody ever did. Now I can have a false sense of security. I can still feel like a smart player, even though I would never be able to compete at this level. Yeah. I may not be able to count 3 + 1. But at least my general strategy is not terrible. Serral does this with Nidus worms. He usually plants down a Nidus worm right here. Oh, well, Reynor has one over here too. Yeah, and then he plants down a Nidus worm over there, and then also one over here, for example, and he puts it on the outer bases, which is kind of neat. Reynor just using the legs of the drones. Here we go again. Rinse and repeat. Now, these are trades that Cure is overall not too unhappy about. As he's also, in the meantime, by the way, now dropping this base. So those drones are short-lived. Command center lifted as well this time around. We have plenty of scans to remove those those Zerglings, rather. Okay. My false sense of security, by the way, already completely gone, as this is not working out at all. But honestly, this overall strategy for Cure is going really poorly. So Cure has been reduced to 22 SCVs and basically 4 base. This is it. Like, he's got command centers, but he's got nowhere to place them. And in the meantime, Reynor has been mining out the entire map. We have a, well, 75-ish supply advantage right here for the Zerg. He doesn't have that much money. He doesn't have a whole lot of resources. I think a drone transfer to, or maybe like a new group of drones here would not be terrible, but yeah, Cure is looking really rough here. He's trying to do the Maru, right? Where Maru is defending and defending and defending, but... Oh, alright. He's not doing nearly as good a job as Maru would have in this situation. This looks, for all intents and purposes, like game over right now. Here comes Reynor once again. Attack wave number 74. All inefficient though, like none of these traits are particularly great for the Zerg player as far as the resources lost goes, but honestly, I think Reynor doesn't have enough drones. He can't, yeah, he realizes it right now as well. I think he was hoping his opponent was gonna GG out right now. But that's not the case. Cure still has enough of a standing army, and you can never really count a Terran player out when they have like 10, literally 10 orbital commands. Lift the depots, please. The ghosts also have been getting a lot of value. Only 6 of them have gone down. Compared to all of these expensive spellcasters and ultras for the Zerg. Alright. Now this is do or die right now for Cure. Reynor sees it. He knows that this expansion has been taken right now. More ultras are saying hello. Push on the right side of the map as well. Double blue flame hellbat drops. Okay, here come the ultras and the Zerglings. Just trying to go after the mules primarily. Cure's got more though, where those came from. $87 drones right now. So I like that Reynor decided to not take a chance here, but just re-drone once again. There was no good reason for him to try and commit to the win here, because it's a really tough call to make. So instead, he went all the way from like 60-something workers back up to 87. Losing one too many drones to all of those drops, I think it makes a lot of sense. This is now, however, giving Cure once again a bit of a foothold here in the middle of the map. And that does make the game a little more scary, I guess, here for Reynor, because I think Cure might just be able to max out. Notice, by the way, that Cure is not actually making any SCVs anymore. He's only got 24, really just relying on those, or command centers of his. Yeah, those snipes are really good. I actually prefer a orbital command in this position than a planetary fortress. Just because the orbital can actually fly. Here's more mules. Okay. Greater Spire coming up for Reynor. These siege tanks, by the way. Ah, they've been replaced a bunch of times. Okay. I was expecting them to have dozens upon dozens of kills, but not quite the case. This guy's got 24. Yeah, actually a lot of the siege tanks have been replaced at some point. They just take the exact same position as their predecessors. Okay. A Brute Lord transition is strong. Mostly because there are only ghosts out to try and defend against it. Preferably, Terran really is looking for a transition here towards, well, for example, Thors. Thors would be good, but it takes a while for Thors to come out. Little Baneling run by. Attempted at the very least. Nidus Worm also attempted inside of the natural, but not achieving nearly as much. Yeah, and suddenly, Cure's army is massive. So, if you look at the army supply, Terran is now actually pulling ahead for the first time in a very long time. Mostly just due to the fact, though, that Cure does not have a lot of workers, right? So he can dedicate 175 army supply here to, well, army. Whereas Zerg has got 84 drones. So Reynor's army at most is just going to be 116. He's only got 1,000 gas. 1,100 gas is really not that much. So even though Zerg can remax very rapidly with Lings against mass Blue Flame Hellbat, I don't think that's a particularly great situation to be in. Yep, and I think Cure is recognizing that too. He's denying those gases primarily. I think he's realizing here that Zerg has been losing... Oh, sorry about that, lads. Oh my god, where are you going? Freaking medevac over here, man. He's like, see you later, suckers! He just boosted away. God, that's literally the entire premise of the StarCraft lore. I think Cure actually wanted to create some more supply so he could make Thors. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that was a ghost getting abandoned. Yeah, Marines are not as important. I think in hindsight, Menks should not have abandoned Kerrigan, though. That probably was a bad play. Alright, the army here for Cure is massive. Couple options. He could either go full bulldozer, try to push for the victory with one army. Honestly doable. Or he can use that entire army to try and secure new bases. Also a viable play. I think he's thinking about move. Like, the problem is, right? If he decides to commit his army to the right side of the map and take this expansion, Zerg is gonna overwhelm the left. Problem is that the base in the far bottom left is really far away as well. So I think you're always gonna leave some vulnerabilities. Reynor has brought a group of Spore Crawlers together with Brute Lords to the front. He realizes that Terran does not have a lot of potential to remax, and these are usually units that get a lot of value. So here we go. Cure does have Thors. He does have Hellbats as well to try and roast up those Brutelings. It's important for Reynor, though, to not get over-eager. Even though this game has been going extremely well for him overall, this is still just such a massive Terran army. In a straight-up battle, there's no doubt in my mind that Cure wins this. That's exactly what Reynor is trying to avoid, though. Using the terrain of the map. Making sure that Terran is fighting into a choke point where those Thors just can't really get the surface area that they're hoping for. Also, I think there's too many Hellbats here. Reynor here, hoping that he's going to be playing against a lot of Thors, because after those Thors go, after the Brute Lords go down, the Thors can be countered a lot more conveniently. Yeah, Terran here is pretty much broke. There's just not enough money anymore for Cure. He can't even really afford repairs. Every wave of Brutelings here is painful. Now, he is securing an expansion on the right side of the map. Brute Lords are good when it comes to these engagements and these hit-and-run strategies. But obviously, they're pretty slow, and you can't really use them for counterattacks, because they do need this very specific terrain. I would love to see, yeah, exactly, a counterattack right here from Reynor, but I think there's just a bit too much army supply dedicated to this. Reynor must be realizing, though, that if there's a lot of army over here, the third base could be vulnerable. But at this point, there's not really a whole lot for him to gain in that section of the map anymore. Nice abductions there, though. Bringing up a couple of those Liberators and whatever else he can snatch into the Spore Crawlers. Okay, Snipes going down. More Zerglings are reinforcing this. Yeah, slow and steady ultimately will win the race here. Cure with his back against the wall. But he's been with his back against the wall for the last 15 minutes or so, right? It turns out he's got a very large back. Very large wall. He's been working out. Yeah, he's been making all kinds of gains. The slow push over here, though. Ay, ay, ay. How many Vipers are there still? Just the 2 of them. They've been going back and forth. I think they'll be abducting whatever they can, yeah. They can use those Spore Crawlers to consume energy. This is lovely work right here by Reynor. Very well done. I would really like to see those Hellions, maybe, the excess of them, go around the map. Yeah, maybe do some actual counterattacks. This is dangerous, though, if there's this many siege tanks committed as well. But Cure previously was doing a really good job trying to shut down that Zerg economy, but ever since he's seen the Brute Lords, he's given up on that. Yeah, again, efficient trades right here for Cure, but I just don't think he's got the numbers. Reynor still with so much money in the bank. Oh, nice fungal growth over there, too. Good EMPs by the Terran player. He's still at 119, 116 supply here. But the numbers are dwindling, and here's the Zerg reinforcement showing up. A few SCVs were made for that newly acquired base on the right side of the map, but this is the stream that Reynor has been hoping for this entire time. Breaking through this position, breaking through the fight at the front as well. Backs up once again when he sees the entire Terran army coming in. Slow and steady wins the race, and at this point, there is essentially no income for the Terran. Yeah, literally nothing. 0 minerals, 0 gas. You can tell by the way that the Zerg players at this level have lost many games over the last couple months in this exact situation. Because Reynor is like... He's like recrossing all of his T's and redotting all of his I's. This guy has got a second pen on his desk just to make sure that if the first one runs out, he's still okay. This is a man who's been bullied one too many times by Terran late game. So he is playing this out very cautiously. Can't blame him though. No real reason to take a risk here. But at this point, the match is pretty much unlosable. You would have to try to lose at this point in time. Yeah. More Brute Lords are coming. More command centers are falling. This base is absolutely pivotal right now here for the Terran. Even though the Brute Lords alone are enough. Yeah, Cure decides to rip off the Band-Aid himself. It's Reynor who obtains the victory 2-1 over one of the world's greatest Terrans.